Okay, hello. So, traveling with Kyle. Um, Nicaragua. So, I was doing Nicaragua. Um, let's see, I left off when the card filled up. I was in Managua, Nicaragua. And yeah, the northern lake is very kind of weird color, I noticed. Anyways, and it was very windy there. But their main city, it had a downtown area that was quite interesting, because it was like a bunch of abandoned buildings, totally abandoned central downtown area. Nobody there. Building like Capitol building abandoned. Guess what happened was back in the 80s they had a dictator. What was his name? Can't remember, but he was like overthrown, and all of his maybe there was overthrown violently or something. And anyway, all the whole downtown area got destroyed or something, and they never had the money or whatever. I guess he stole a bunch of money and maybe embezzled it, and they don't even know where it went. So they were totally bankrupt. And they didn't have the money to even rebuild the downtown area, and even 20 years later, they just haven't gotten around to it. Even though that's the most beautiful part of the whole city, it's right next to the lake there. But so interesting place. And it was a large city, very spread out, and there were like lots of areas inside the city that were just like fields and um, very bizarre place, Managua. And I rode my bike all over that place. I remember seeing one lake that was like a crater. It was like this hole. It looked like somebody took a laser beam and then it filled up with water. It was kind of crazy. I can't remember where I stayed there. I think it was some hotel or something. Saw some I was kind of talking to some African dudes who were traveling there. I've never seen African guys traveling. But yeah, it's kind of a dismal place. They had a big baseball stadium. I guess baseball is the biggest sport there in Nicaragua. Kind of interesting. I guess it's big in Venezuela too, and Japan. Um, so, anyways, then I rode my bike down to was it called Granada? I think it was called, on the northern edge of Lake Nicaragua, and that was a very touristy town. There's lots of like expats living there. It's a very beautiful town, very old. I did stop and hang out in one little town on the way down there though. And then I got on the boat and took the boat across Lake Nicaragua to an island inside of it. And I was hanging out with like this German girl. Can't remember her name. And then I guess she was traveling with with some Argentinian boyfriend. But there was some Nicaraguan woman there who kind of went nuts. She was like a schizo or something, and she was like screaming and like crying and stuff, and people had to like restrain her or something. It was kind of crazy. But the lake was it was very windy, and the lake was like lots of big waves, and I kind of felt like I was in the ocean. This lake is really big. I think it's the 10th biggest freshwater lake in the world, and has the only freshwater shark in the world. And when the Spaniards came, they actually were able to sail up the river from the ocean and sail into the lake in their ocean-going ships. Pretty crazy. And and at the time the lake had two islands, and it was only after the Spanish got there, maybe 150 years ago or something, or 200 years ago, I don't remember when. One of the southern island actually erupted, and all of the lava grew it into the northern island. So now it's one island. And I stayed there. I rode my bike in the northern town. It was like really basic, kind of a poor country, really basic. There, like a dirt road from where the boat got off into the town. It was totally dirt road, but it was Latin style. They had their plaza there, and 4:16. I'm training myself to look at my watch. Exactly 4 minutes 20 seconds. Anyways, yeah, I stayed in a really cheap like hotel, and then there was this Nicaraguan kid there. It was really funny. We paid him. He wanted to be our guide to take us up to the top of the mountain, and it was probably a good idea because it was like a special. There was no like signs to where the trail was. He was like this. He was like studying to be like an ultimate fighter or something. And we went with him and this other like German kid, I think, to the top of the mountain. And we actually had to wait for this kid. He wasn't hiking as fast as us, which is kind of puzzling because if he wants to be an ultimate fighter, you think he'd be in better shape than that. But it was funny because he'd be practicing his punches all the time. But the trail up there was really interesting because it was just really steep and up through jungle, very beautiful. And on the top, it was totally fog. You couldn't see more than like 20 feet, so I didn't get my view that I wanted. And then we looked down into the crater, didn't even see the crater there, and it was so windy, like 100-mile-an-hour wind or something crazy, but it was warm. I went out there for a little bit and then came back down. And I wish I had of actually climbed the mountain on the south too, but I guess, sometimes I'm just like, let's keep moving, keep traveling. But my buddy Glenn climbed it, and he said it was awesome because, like, you could climb up and then you had to, like, rappel down with, like, a rope that was already fixed there, and there's a lake in the crater up there. I mean, imagine hanging out in a lake inside of a crater on the top of a mountain. Oh, man, totally missed that. Anyways, then I rode my bike back to the boat and took the boat down to the southern end of the lake where I had to where actually when I got off, that was Costa Rica, so I had to, like, get stamped out. And then I took a motorboat, little motorboat down the river to the nearest town in Costa Rica in south, which was like a total nature tour, man. Like, I saw turtles all over the place. I think maybe crocodiles, like all these tropical birds and all kinds of trees. It was really amazing. So we get to the edge, and then I get to some town, and I didn't feel like riding my bike. It would have been an amazing bike ride though down to San Jose because Costa Rica, the roads are good, not too much traffic, and it's just hills everywhere, lots of mountains up and down, green. Would have been great. But anyways, I got in a bus and I rode. I didn't feel like riding. And I sat next to some school teacher lady, and I was kind of starting to learn how to speak Spanish at that time. So I was totally talking her ear off, and I think I was totally annoying her. But I got to San Jose, which is in a pretty setting. It's in like a big valley, like surrounded by mountains, and I rode my bike and hung out there for a couple days. I saw the zoo there, which was pretty cool, and they had a pedestrian mall there. And I saw a few movies there, and they're like indoor mall. And then I rode my bike up over towards Volcano Arenal, and I wish I'd have climbed Arenal because there's a steaming volcano, a lava volcano. I want to see lava, man, but I was lazy or on a rush or something. And but I ended up staying at this hotel, which was like some bird sanctuary. And then if I paid extra, I could have done like the bird tour, but I didn't want to. But the ride up to it was beautiful because there was all this, I was like in a cloud, you could only see like 30 feet in front of you, and it was warm, and it was really cool. And it was a really big climb up there on the bike. And then, so I stayed and the place I stayed was it was a nice place. And I was hanging out with these older Colombian guys, and I was telling them that I was going to go to Colombia, and they were like freaked out. They talked to me for like 2 hours, like imploring me not to go to Colombia, like saying that I had only had a maximum of like 3 days to live if I went there, and that their best friend just got murdered there just because he was there for vacation. And I think I was planning on even like bike touring across it. So anyways, I was like, whoa, okay, dang. So then I rode my bike over the pass and then down, and it was like the biggest downhill I'd ever ridden in my life. It was insane. I can't remember what the altitude of that pass was, but it was pretty high, and then I went almost down to sea level, and then I had to do another climb, pretty steep up, and then back down to the ocean on the western side to this I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a surf mecca of Costa Rica, where I got a little bungalow place and hung out there for a couple days surfing. That was fun. Surfing wasn't so good though. I don't think I actually like rode any waves. I kind of jumped up on the chop and kind of rode the chop a little bit, but it was fun to surf around somewhere around there. Anyways, I guess I'll have to continue this in the next video.